Africa, brothers. It's such a great opportunity for us to continue with the session talking about we are the temple. We are the temple of the living God. And today I am privileged, really, to talk about one of the challenges that I face as a man. And I am grateful that God has been merciful to me to give me an opportunity to share it, nevertheless. And I pray that as I share, we will all be encouraged. Today, I would like to talk about men's purity and the social media. But before I get to do this, I know in here we have men who are married. Some have been married for perhaps 1 to 5 years. Others have been married for maybe up to 10 years. We have people who've been married for 20 years. I celebrated 15 years of marriage recently. Some have been married for 30 years and even others beyond 30. We also have some senior singles here, people who are over 40 years old, and we really honor them. We have some singles who are younger, below 40. We have some campers and teens here. You know, perhaps you're here and you are separated or you're divorced as a person. And so this is a group with men from all demographics. But I really believe that what we are about to talk about cuts across. I used to think when I was still young, struggling in high school, in primary, looking at girls and lusting at them. And I was thinking, man, one day when I get married, my troubles will end. And I'm married. Those troubles never ended. You know, I still go through these struggles. And I believe that we can all relate to these challenges. You know, we continue as we talk about our body being God's temple. And today we just want to focus on social media and our purity. You know, we are living in a world that is so advanced in technology. You know, we are currently in the world of AI, you know, ChatGPT. You know, they are actually, this thing is controlling the world's economy. There's so much to learn on this platform, but I admit that this same place is loaded with so much evil. And I think as men, today is an opportunity to just talk through this. And I really pray that you can reflect on this, regardless of your age, regardless of where you are, how you are. We will also get into our breakout rooms, just in the different groupings I've mentioned, so that we can even get more closer in a conversation and talk through this issue of men's purity and the social media. I really pray that this will be a great opportunity for us to think about this and connect and begin a conversation so that this discussion doesn't just end on this virtual space, but where we get to continue to talk within our local congregations as we share our experiences. And I really just want to reiterate this text here that reads in 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, that do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God. You're not your own. You're bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. You know, and Paul was talking to this church, a church that was really saved by Jesus, but going through a moment of sin. You know, he just reminds them their identity in Jesus. He says, hey, guys, don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? You know, and just like Mike shared earlier, we looked at last week we were really encouraged by my brother, Dr. Julius, as he was sharing about the tale of the three men, Joseph, David 1 and 2. This series, really, this is a reminder of who we are in Jesus. What we are learning is not new. It's just a great reminder. Even what I'm going to be sharing this evening, I don't think it's new. It's just a reminder. I'm hoping I can take the shortest time possible sharing so that you can have more time just talking in the breakout rooms as we are going to be able to distribute. I pray that it will be an opportunity for us to reflect on our purity, on our spiritual battle as we are on the social media. I use the computer almost every day. I have my phone almost every day. And this is a space that can either build you or really, 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 really damage. And I pray that we can be able to have people we can talk together and know that, yes, how can we use this media to build the kingdom and not to destroy? Now, the first thing I would like to share very quickly is men's eyes and the social media. I think human eyes are very critical in the world of social media. We really use our eyes to see, to look at what's happening. Right now, man, we are really mourning some of the people we've lost in this country under very tough circumstances. And we are all out there really saying, hey, what's going on? And I know one of the things I've been doing, I've been finding myself all the time wanting to see what's going on. What's the next action? What's going on? And there's so much moving in the social media. And this is what Jesus says about the eyes as he's talking about when he was sharing the Sermon on the Mount. This is what he said about the eye. He says the eye in Matthew 6:22, that the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Jesus talks about the eye as a lamp, as the light, as the source where you get to see, where you get to bring in a lot into your mind, into your heart, into your life. And he just says, hey, man, if your eyes are healthy, your body will be full of light because you're going to receive very healthy stuff and you're going to really become very healthy as a person. Woe to you if your eyes are full of darkness. Because, man, what you're going to get, what you will receive will just be darkness, The eyes are exposing the temple, the body, which is the temple of God. And the eyes can either expose this temple to light or to darkness. And the social media world offers both. I've learned many things online, many great things, many. But I was introduced to pornography when I was about 18 there through social media. I mean, I went to my friend's house and we were going there to watch a movie. And I sat there with my friends when we were in Form 2 there. And this guy puts the movie and suddenly I was in shock because I couldn't understand what kind of movie is this where men and women are just having sex throughout. I mean, that was it throughout the movie. There was nothing else. I had never heard of pornography before. That was the first day. And I went home wondering, what was that? And I was very curious, and that led me into many, many things. My eyes were exposed to something, created curiosity. And I was reading an article by someone, Seshi, and this is what she said, or he said, I'm not sure whether it's a man or a woman. He said, this is what they recorded, that as of November 2024, This website called Pornhub.com held the leading pornographic website for global users, as it averaged 5.25 billion monthly visits. 5.25 billion visits per month, followed by X videos that was ranked at 3.47. And I was like, man, this is a huge number of viewers. This is a huge number, because the eyes, people over the world, all over the world, visit these sites to see sexual pictures, to see videos. And some of them, after that, they start to fall into masturbation. They begin to use women as object of sex. You know, people just get messed up. And Jesus says, hey, your eyes are the lamp of this temple, the body. And I pray that we can have a conversation of how do we take care of our eyes while we're on social media? How do we deal with this? The other thing I would like to just share briefly is on men's eyes and social media is this Proverbs 27. I've been looking at this Proverbs 27 verse 20. It says, hell and destruction are never full. Hell and destruction are never full. So the eyes of man are never satisfied. I used the King James Version on this one because King James copies almost word for word, so that I can just show you this here, that there are some phrases, there's some words here that are used twice, repeatedly, to emphasize. You know, this is a comparative proverb that compares one element to another. And here is this writer, Solomon, is comparing hell and destruction that are never full to the eyes of man that are never satisfied. You know, he uses the Hebrew word is lo. Lo means no, never. Lo tisbana means never satisfied. That word is used twice. It's used on the first clause where it says the hell and destruction, never full, never satisfied. They keep taking in. People keep dying, keep receiving. I mean, since the beginning of life till now, we live and it will continue until Jesus comes back. And so is the eyes of man. I mean, that was really intense. Just to imagine that the lust of the eye, the restless craving, which grows as you feed on it, it never gets satisfied. It's impossible to satisfy. And this is associated with sexual appetite. To keep seeing, to keep looking, to keep looking, to keep wanting to see more. And we find that you're in a space where you are just looking. And many people today are enslaved because they want to go online, because there's a pull that is forcing us to want to keep looking. I don't know about you, whether you're in that space today. I've been in this space, and this is a space where men struggle. You go on YouTube, you go on TikTok, you go on every part of this space, Instagram. There are people today, all they do is take a video of themselves dancing, others doing all manner of things, and these things are all out there. I have been so scared of allowing my child. She really wants to be on TikTok, one of my daughters. And I feel scared because I don't know what she's going to find out there, you know? I know here we have some young people on campus and teens, and I know you understand what I'm saying. I know we have older people here, people who've lived longer. These things were never there in the 60s. They are now here. And many of us can find ourselves struggling. It starts with one image into another image before you realize we are hooked and we are addicted. And in the end, men begin to struggle in silence. We struggle in silence. I've been in this place where you're a Christian, yet you're just wondering, why am I struggling with this? I am ashamed to even share. And the psalmist here says, when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. But of course, this is a battle for many men where maybe you're struggling with masturbation, you're struggling with lust. You watch, when you're on the phone, all that the mind wants you to do is to go on. The other day, we were discussing with the brothers in Kisumu and saying sometimes you're on Facebook and there's that video part on Facebook. You click on that video part, you begin to see all manner of videos, and it can lead you astray. And we kept discussing, how do you get rid of this? You know, there are many people, men, who are actually in addiction. There's nothing else they can do on the phone or on the laptop but watch women who are naked, women or men. And this is just, some now are just wondering, how do I get out of this? And nobody knows. And one of the questions I was asking myself, maybe you can chat if you need, is it true that older men are more secretive in their use of their social media, sexual content than younger men? I was thinking about it because when I was young, my friends just say, let's go watch a movie. And we were watching pornography together. I've never seen, I've never had that. Maybe it happens where married people or older people can say, let's go watch pornography together. But they watch privately, you know. And I was just thinking, man, the older I am, the more I'm in danger, you know, of just getting myself into this trouble. There are many men who are secretly watching, who are secretly engaged with these vices, and they're addicted in silence. The psalmist gives us a testimony. I think at this time, he was the blessed one because he was saying, man, blessed are those whose sins have been forgiven. Blessed are those whose transgression the Lord doesn't forget, that, you know, has forgiven and will not count against them. But then he says, man, but you know, there was a time I was struggling. And I was just thinking, man, can we be a community of testimonies where we're able to say, wow, there was a time that I struggled. There was a time that I was going through this, but I am so grateful that I came out of this. The other thing I want to share very quickly, because I would really like for us to go into the breakout rooms, and this is the last one, is there is something we call the spiritual and emotional cycle, where a brother has a challenge with sexual sin, and then suddenly they get a conviction and they overcome. But then they go through a problem, say lack of money, say all manner of challenge, then it drives them back into masturbation or pornography. Then again, it's like they also get another. And I was thinking about Romans 7 when I thought about that, where Paul is really saying some things here that shows, wow, as he discusses the law and the struggles of man. I'll just read that as I explain this briefly. He says in verse 14, the law is good then. The trouble is not with the law, but with me, because I am sold into slavery with sin as my master. I don't understand myself at all, for I really want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do the very thing I hate. You know, someone who's going through a cycle. Today, man, they're like, I thank God I have overcome. I don't know whether there's anyone here who has gone through that, man. I have been in such spaces where you say, wow, I thank God I'm standing today. Then you find a financial challenge makes me begin to stray my eyes and look at women lustfully. And I'm like, man, I thought I had overcome this trouble. Then you're back into that old flesh pattern of sexual sin. And then by the grace of God, and then you come back. We have people that are stuck into this cycle. And admission is the first step towards recovery. But what I would like for us to do today, this evening, I would like for us to go into a breakout room and have a discussion. And in this breakout room, I was just thinking, and Simon is setting it up, we'll have people who have been married between 1 year and 5 years. Maybe you're still infatuated, you're still in that space. But what are your sexual struggles, even as you're on the social media? I remember at that time when I was just newly married, I was so excited, but I had my own struggles. I would watch some of the programs on TV, and man, you see these women, and you're thinking, at least now I have a wife, I can do whatever, and you find you're really struggling without knowing, thinking you're just in love with your wife, but what are you seeing out there? What are you bringing at home? We have people who've been married for 6 to 10 years. They have children, 11 to 20. Man, children are growing. Like for me, where I am, I have a teenager already in the house. 21 to 30, we're all exposed to different sexual temptations and different challenges. But the question I would like for us to discuss in our breakout room, the first question is, how do we break the silence? What should we do? Where do we go? Where do we become? Because many of these things are full of shame, full of fear. What will people think about me? I'm the husband here, and I'm hoping that group you will be with is a safe space where you can say, most of these guys are my age mates. We can talk through this. How do we break the silence? Because we really need to come out. We really need to talk to each other and encourage each other. But the other question I would like for us to interact with my brothers is, how do we create safe space and supporting communities? Whereas men here in the Lake region, here in Kisumu, I can say, man, I have a brother here. I have a brother we can talk about these challenges I'm going through sexually. As I check, as I'm online, these are some of the things I'm going through. And so my brother Simon is going to set up these spaces. We'll have several spaces. Please choose which space fits you. Not to go in there and be silent, but to go in there and just spend some time and say, hey, brothers, we are all struggling. What do we do? How do we help ourselves to break the silence? How can we reach out to each other to overcome these sexual temptations, these issues of pornography, these issues of masturbation? How do we get out of here? How do we create a safe space where we can all reach out to each other, form this community where someone doesn't have to drown when their brothers are around? And so, Simon, I hope you're ready, because for the next 30 minutes, I would like for us to get into that and just share our experiences. Vulnerably, let's talk. You never know. This is the beginning of a conversation that can save someone's life. I pray that it will be a great opportunity. Then we'll come back and read some scriptures and finish. And that should be it for our midweek service today. Thank you very much. Let's break into our breakout rooms. So Simon, do you have anything you'd like to share on that as we break into our breakout rooms?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Raymond, for that vulnerable sharing and also bringing us to a place where we can actually look out for each other and have conversations. The breakout rooms, I think, are largely to begin us with the conversations. It's certainly not going to help us maybe conclude everything, but I think it's just a way for us to open up to one another. You might not be comfortable opening up, which is fine, but with time, I think we can create more spaces because I think we are each other's keeper. We are each